Welcome to another fantastic, spectacular, amazing episode of the Alumni podcast. We have a very special guest today, Jessica, who is a therapist. T, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I like the adjectives that you use to intro the show. It's like amazing, spectacular. Like it's always like three different ones. I don't know if you like think about it beforehand or you just do it live, but it's
It's just,
impressive when you do that. You
it's
just
just
know a lot of adjectives off the dome. I like it.
adjectives are good. It's very expressive. We're gonna shoot this intro. We'll be right back, guys. What's up?
Sounds good. We the alumni, ripping it up while you were gun shy, running back, reincarnated, graduated and elevated, past lives of fast times from our high school and beyond education. Take a listen, nostalgia's never distant, no disses on this track, we handle our business. NBA, JD, DPT, we got the stack. Hey Jim, it's time to bring our classmates back.
Now, T, I have a question for you, man.
What's
have you
that,
ever
brother?
been to therapy?
Been to therapy. I have done BetterHelp before. Yep. After a breakup in 2022, I did a little bit of the online stuff. Yeah. Never in person, but yes, just the BetterHelp.
Yeah, mine was sadly after a breakup. So luckily for the both of us, Jessica Roux is
Right.
here. What's up?
What's up? I appreciated the pen game in that intro song too.
Let's go. See, I don't know.
It was
I think it gets better every time, Jim. Every time I listen to it, I'm like, let's go. That's
It's
fire.
been growing on me too. I might add it to my playlist. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, that's a bop right there.
That's That's something. That is something. Yeah. So found a beat online, just like a freebeats.io like website, and then I was like, that sounds very nostalgic. That whole beat does. So I was like, I could do something on that. And then we were trying to go for like a Boondock Saints, like just like rap on a beat. Like Jim had that idea. I was like, that's a good idea. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thanks for saying that. You're the first guest to say that, so that's awesome.
And
Bonus points.
Fun fact, he used no ghostwriters for this too.
No, I'm not Drake. I don't need a ghostwriter. I just go straight up. That's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're excited to get to know Jessica today, and let's jump into that now.
Let's do this. So, very first question is just a quick 1 to 10. How would you rate that global high school experience? Obviously, we'll get into your story. You had 3 years at Samo and then 1 year kind of at Venice. But what would you rate that overall experience? 0 to 10.
Yeah. So my experience at Samo, I'm gonna give it a 9, maybe even a 9.5.
Wow,
a 9.5 is certified the highest we've ever gotten for sure.
That's
certified.
Blew our minds right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to Samo, it was a bit of a culture shock because I was in Catholic school up until that point. And so class size was like 25 people. And it was just, it was Catholic school. So it was just so much shaming. And I just remember being confused and like, and like Samo, I was like, wow, there's just like so many people here. I just felt like I could be myself and like make new friends. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. I didn't do well at school, I think, because I was having too much fun, but it was good. I got out of my system then and like got things, together for college and grad school and all of that.
Hopefully you didn't get all the fun out of your system because you want to still have fun for later in life. You don't want to get it all out, keep some, but
you're right. There was still some debauchery after that, but yeah.
That's what I like to hear. Yeah.
That's what we want to hear. We want to hear about debauchery.
Yeah,
we almost named the show the Debauchery Podcast, and then we changed last minute. Yeah, we're like, alumni sounds better. Yeah.
Alumni, yeah. It's like it's an umbrella term, and we can talk about the debauchery times in that.
Smart, very smart. I can see why you made it to becoming a therapist.
No,
but see, it's that moment, it's that time. It's time for the hot. We gotta put
daydreaming.
Right into the hot seat.
Ooh,
put daydreaming on as the DJ there, and then we'll get into the hot seat. So 2 hall passes, that is 2 free passes and skips on any of these 6 questions if they are too hot to handle. Most guests don't need to use them, so think about it if you really need to use it. But anyway, question 1: Who was your high school crush, And did you ever shoot your shot in high school for that person?
And I had a feeling that was going to be asked for some reason. So yeah, my high school crush was Ali Yaya, and I think I did shoot my shot with him.
Nice. There you go. Okay. That's bold. I love that. I love that. Me and Jim were too afraid to, like, too shy to do that. So
Very sad.
Respect. We're already respect there.
Absolute respect.
Question 2. Who did you have beef with at Samo or just didn't have a good vibe around?
Oh, who did I have beef with? No, I can't remember. I got along with a lot of people. I had a lot of different groups of friends. Someone who had beef with me was Mr. Gottlieb, the French teacher. It was my fault. I was just rambunctious and stoned in class, and, and then one of the algebra, Mr. Lopez. Yeah,
that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Beef with him because one time I had my head down on the desk and he just slammed the desk, and just like it was just very startling.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Mr. Lopez then. No hard feelings now. It's tough to be a teacher.
Yeah.
He's probably not there anymore. It's fine.
Yeah. He probably thinks about you once a week. That's it.
Once a week at least. Yeah. Just slamming the desk at least once a week.
I was like, damn.
That's fair. Question 3. Did you drink in high school, and why or why not? What was your take on drugs and drinking and all that in high school?
You know what? I didn't drink until after high school, after I was 18, but I was definitely using substances. I was smoking weed every day by the time I was 16. So that created a whole host of challenges down the line. And, back then the raves were all ages. So I was like going to Monster Massive and Hard Haunted and, just partying, taking drugs, and thank goodness for neuroplasticity. I think my brain is built. But I was a little wild in Samo, I'm gonna be honest.
Right. Yeah. But hey, you got a 9.5 out of 10 at Samo, so that's probably a good. That's a great score. That's a good time. That's a great time.
Yeah, it was a great time.
That's amazing. I haven't even heard of those raves. All I know is like Burning Man. That's literally it. I don't know anything else you just said, but it sounds wild. Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's probably better that you guys weren't involved in the
Okay. That's fair.
We might not be here, T. We're not cut out for it.
We probably wouldn't be here. Exactly. Who knows where we'd be. Dang. Okay. Question 4. You're just kind of breezing through these. This is amazing. Are you currently north or south of a 6-figure income?
I'm south. I could be north, but I'm just choosing to work less right now because that's just what I need for my mind, body, and spirit. Nice. But it will be north of 6 by next year.
I like that. Work-life balance is the biggest thing, right? So I love that.
We said on the last episode, you can't put a price on peace of mind.
Yes. I've cut back in hours just because I'm just like, that's just what it takes. And, no job, no paycheck is worth your well-being. And that's okay for now. And we can just keep building up to that.
Absolutely.
I love that. Are you all remote or you do office work as well?
I'm mostly in the office. I like to be in person because you just, that they have the vibe there and you just can collaborate more, I feel like, in person. Some of my sessions are virtual, but it is the minority.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. 2 more here. Question 5. Do you have a vivid, embarrassing moment or awkward high school moment? Anything come to mind?
What embarrassing? Let's see. I think... Oh, wow. Just getting in trouble in Mr. Gottlieb's class because any class that I had after lunch, we can go off campus at lunch. So I would oftentimes smoke at lunch and then come back and just be faded, and I would get in trouble in class for talking too much or being too goofy. So those are probably the...
I got you. Yep, that is fair. And final question.
Office too.
a lot of trips to the office. Yeah,
they would have me pass out slips, when someone
oh yeah
I
Yeah,
was like,
that
oh,
never. The ones where like you would get if you were like 5 minutes late, you'd have to go to a different building, and then you'd end up being like 40 minutes late because of it. I never understood that system at Samo, but I do remember that vividly.
Hopefully they changed that. Who knows?
Right, that was terrible. And final hot seat question is going to be: did you have your first kiss in high school, and if so, who was it with?
it was in middle school, so
Middle
it
school.
wasn't at Samo.
Okay, not
Oh,
was it non-truth or dare, or was it like a legitimate kiss, or was it like a dare situation?
Oh, that's funny. It was kind of like my friend saying, "Oh, you like him, he likes you," kiss, like seventh
Okay,
grade type situation.
there you go. Very seventh grade right there.
yeah, it
Right?
Yeah,
The
seems
seventh
that
grade.
sounds like the 7th grade for sure.
right.
Right. That's just
Do you
shenanigans.
remember the person's name by chance?
I do, yes.
Oh, you got to share it if you can.
Yeah, his name was Vasya.
Wow, that sounds like a stellar name. Like,
Dude, I
I
wish
don't know
mine
who
was
that is, but I would
awesome.
kiss him just based on the name. Vasya, like, what did you just say? That's
Like,
amazing.
where's that from, dude?
It's Russian.
Oh, it's Russian.
Okay, it's a rush. That's interesting. Okay.
Oh, man, I'm just spilling all the tea here.
The tea is spilled, but that's maybe the hardest part of the show. So you did a great job. You went 6 for 6 right there, Jess. Good
Well,
job.
that's right.
Legendary.
I was like, we're getting
Legendary
6 for
performance.
6 for
Whoa,
sure.
whoa! Jess put a little Lmft. I like that. She like did the settings thing. How did you? We didn't even tell you to do that. You just like did
Oh,
that.
yeah, it said heading. I was like, LMFT, let's go with that. Licensed marriage
Represent. I
family
like that.
therapist. Yeah. I was
Dude,
like,
solid.
I have letters. I might as well
You
add
have
them.
letters.
You might as
Use the
well throw
letters.
those letters on. You paid for them, you know?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Was a lot of years.
Love
Okay.
that. Love that.
Well,
Cool.
Jess, we want to jump right into your story, but first I got to take you all the way back to 2010. You did not complete SAMO with us, but that's okay. We're going to get into your story. You're still an alumni right in here, no matter what. Do you remember what house you were in SAMO? Remember
Yes, I was in O House.
you were in
I
O
was
House.
though too.
O
Nice.
House, they would
Oh
say.
wow. That's
So
awesome.
Tyler should remember you.
I
I was in
should.
M House, so I don't remember that.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think we had any classes together, but we were in the same house. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly. Like, and now that we're kind of flowing more, you guys are seeing me more familiar. So, yeah,
Okay.
Dope.
probably
Love
did
it.
have some classes.
We
Nice.
probably did. If we go back in time, we probably were in the same class at a certain point.
Maybe I was at one of those raves that you were at, and I just totally like blacked it out. I don't even know. Maybe I was smoking weed every day, and I forgot. I'm not even sure what I'm
He
gonna
was the
find out
old
about
guy in the
myself.
corner for sure. Tyler was like dealing out ecstasy in the corner.
I was the dude just in the hoodie dealing X, dude. That was me.
Oh my God.
But Jess, in 2010, you graduated from high school or continuation school. And I would say you never saw me and T ever again after that. But hey, this is actually our first time meeting on camera. So here you are, 14 years later.
Wow.
And the people who remember you at SAMO, the people who know you, want to know what happened from that point of 2010 all the way until you got into your seat now. I'm curious to hear your wonderful story, and the floor is yours.
Right on. Thank you. Well, like you said, I did continuation school. I went to Venice Skills, so it was like independent studies. So we went to school once a week and had like a packet of work to do. I was like, this is so easy and amazing. And it
Yeah.
really took off, the substance use career. But, it was all needed to learn those lessons. And so after that, and to circle back to, what got me on track to like my career is my first psychology class was at SAMO. It was
Oh.
with Mr. Hedrick. I don't know if you ever had a class with him. Rest in peace, Mr. Hedrick. He passed away like a few years after we graduated, which
What?
was really sad. He was such a cool teacher. He
Yeah.
told us like stories from back in the days, in the 70s and all that stuff. And so that was the only subject I did well in was psychology. And I was like, oh, like I'm interested in this. I'm doing well in this. Like there's something for me here. And the nice thing about being a therapist is that the path is pretty straightforward. You go get your bachelor's, you get your master's in clinical psychology, you do your 3,000 hours to become licensed,
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of just do your thing. So because I didn't do great in high school, I went to SMC, love SMC.
Harvard by the Sea.
Right, right. And then I transferred to UC Santa Barbara because I was like, that's the furthest I'll go. And Santa Barbara was great. It's beautiful. It's
Mhm.
slower. And there I got my bachelor's in cultural anthropology and minor in applied psychology. And I did pretty well there. In the midst of pretty much all my paths since high school, I was really just managing my alcohol and drug addiction, didn't have that much awareness at the time. I was just like having fun. This is what people do, but it got really problematic down the line. And so I went to UCSB, graduated, and then for grad school, I went to Antioch University, which is in Culver City, got my master's in clinical psychology. And I specialized in spiritual and depth psychology, which is more around different spiritual practices. And also, depth psychology is like Carl Jung's work. So, the shadow, the unconscious, archetypes, that type of framework I'm really interested in. And so, I got my master's, and it was halfway through grad school in 2017, 2018. I was working with a therapist there, and she told me I was struggling with, drugs and alcohol, didn't know the word for that at the time.
Mhm.
And she said I was an alcoholic. I was in denial about it. And she said, "You will crash and burn as a therapist if you don't get sober." And
Mm-hmm.
so I had, there's a series of events where I kind of hit my bottom. In 2018, I had a second overdose. And
Wow.
first one was in 2014. And I didn't think much of it, but it was in 2018 where I was like, okay, something is bad is going to happen. I really felt like I was going to die if I just continued on that trajectory.
Yeah.
And so I was scared, and I started going to meetings. I and started working a program, a 12-step program. And after 13 months, I did have one small relapse and just got back into the program after that. And since then, I'll have 5 years sober in September. So it's been,
Go.
thank you.
Clap emojis.
Yeah, clap emojis, clap
That's
sounds.
legit. That's legit. 5 years. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a big part of my work because I'm like, I know that song and dance. I work mostly with addiction and trauma.
Yeah.
So I just know that beast. And I think that helps me relate to my clients and just give them that reassurance that it will not always be that bad. There is a solution. And it's about just getting to the root of what is driving those behaviors. Because I know for me, it was an unhealthy coping mechanism
Mhm.
beyond just having fun. At first it's fun, then it's fun with problems, then it's just problems. So that was kind of
Mm,
Wow, that was deep.
trajectory.
yeah. I've never heard it broken down like that, but I can see what you're saying there. Yeah.
All right, there's so much to unpack about your story. So I'm going to go all the way back to your early stages, and we'll follow up periodically. I have a lot of questions in my head. The first thing is when you transition to doing school and continuation school,
Mhm.
me and Tyler always talk about the educational gap. I mean, from high
Mhm.
school to college,
Mhm.
we didn't know how to study when we first got to college. We didn't know how to navigate. We had to learn those skills. Was that your experience? And if so, how did you overcome it?
Totally. It was I had, I didn't have that much practice with writing papers and yeah, the skills to study also because I wasn't present in school a lot. I was ditching and I was anxious and depressed a lot in high school. And that really
Yeah.
interfered with my ability to focus And with that, I was like, not feeling great about myself because I wasn't doing well in school. And I wish there were more resources then to kind of like, hey, this kid's struggling. Like, can we check in on them? Kind of give more guidance, because I think the academic performance reflects their internal state and, what they may be struggling with.
100%. That's our experience too. But I have to ask you this. When you took a look back to high school, you found that one class that you liked. It was psychology, right?
Mhm.
So then when you found that out, was that like did you have any other career paths in mind, or was it just straight up psychology?
It was just straight up psychology. I had like a light bulb moment. I just felt like, oh, this is my calling. And like this gives me a lot of purpose and meaning, and it's something I'm interested in and get excited about. So it just felt like a no-brainer. I'm really grateful I didn't have to like go into college undeclared, figure out what I liked. I really knew what I liked, and I just like went all in on it.
Solid.
Dang.
That's
And
so
so
different than the paths that we've heard. But go ahead, T.
I was going to say, yeah. And so you attribute a lot of that to, you said Mr. Hendrick in high school?
Absolutely, yeah, because he would also share some of his stories, of just like hitting a bong. I was like, oh, like it's possible to
Yeah.
yeah, to like have meet your goals. I think it's so important for people to like hear those stories, like have that mirroring and know it's like, okay, it's possible for me to see like possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One thing that we've discovered, we've done about 20 of these episodes thus far. So we've heard 20 different people's stories. And so far, there's always some sort of glimpse backwards into people's true career paths. Like we had a guy named Avila Santo on here, but he was doing music since he was like, I don't know, in middle school. And there was just no other choice. Like he was going to do music. And it's good to see that that's also a theme in your life too, from your experience, right? So when you graduated high school, it was like, I'm going to be a psychologist. That was your basically your thought pattern.
Pretty much, as I'm going to be a therapist. A psychologist has their PhD, so that's the difference.
Yeah.
I explored the possibility of getting a PhD, but that's more research, and a therapist is applying the research. I want to just work with clients. I didn't want to collect data, analyze any of that. I just want to be like boots on the ground, like the energy's lifting and shifting in the room. That's where I wanted to be.
That's a good distinction, because I was unsure if psychologists needed a PhD, or if it was a master's and some have a PhD, or what. I know psychiatry. My brother's a medical doctor, so I knew psychiatry was more medical school and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't know exactly what the psychology requirement was. So that helps for the listener for sure, and for myself to know that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, most therapists have their master's, and some have their PsyD, which is a doctorate in psychology.
Dang. Thanks for the crash course. I did not know that going into the podcast. All right. And then when you started college, when you started at SMC, did you feel that gap from being in continuation school, or did you feel like you just jumped in and it clicked for you?
I felt like it did jump in and it clicked. I used the tutors there. That helped. And I just practiced a lot. We had a lot of papers and had to study for a lot of tests. So I felt like I found my flow in just doing the work. I struggled the most with math, and because that's something you need a solid foundation.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have that, but it's okay. I was like, I'm not going to need that later.
Yeah. Okay. That's super solid. And then from SMC, you went to UCSB?
Yes.
Okay. How was that jump?
Yeah, I liked UCSB. There's all kinds of stories how Isla Vista is such a party town, and there's still a good amount of partying, of course, but it had toned down a lot since I think years ago. Like Halloween was low key. I think the police really buckled down, so parties didn't become into ragers. There were still like parties and things, but it seemed like a normal college environment of partying instead of stories you hear about Isla Vista.
Solid. One of the reoccurring themes that you spoke about is this addiction that you had. Was it it carried on from high school into SMC and then UCSB.
Yes, and I was using my first year of grad school too. Like I
Okay.
wasn't sober yet, but I was really trying. It takes what it takes. What I've learned about
Mm.
addiction is the seed of needing to get sober is planted long before someone actually gets sober, and that's just
Mm.
the nature of the beast and the process.
Wow. You
What was
know,
the biggest thing that you could reach for, as a coping mechanism that wasn't related to, alcohol and drugs? Like, was there specific things that you went to? Like, you got really into fitness, or you got really into team sports, or like anything that you kind of relied on during that stressful time of grad school?
Totally, that's a good question. I was super into yoga. I've done
Nice.
yoga religiously since 17 years old. So that's something that's always been in my life. And also in particularly Kundalini yoga, which is
Mm.
uh, a kind of it's a form of yoga, but there's more chanting and different mudras, and it looks weird in different breathing exercises, but it is so powerful. I've had such profound spiritual experiences in my Kundalini yoga practice. And it was actually when I was at this one meditation studio in a class, we were doing some sort of breath work, and I just had streams of tears going down my face. Like, damn, I need to get sober. And
Wow.
after that class, I went home, threw out the rest of my drugs. That was not the time I got sober, but it was,
start.
moving in that direction.
That's powerful. I've had tears in yoga one time, and that was because it was hot yoga, and it was so hot I was just like perspiring everywhere. So I don't know if that's the same thing, but it was a spiritual experience doing hot yoga for
Yeah,
sure.
if the salt got in your eye and it was like actual tears, then I'm pretty sure that that was real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever
I
took you
have seen videos of Kundalini yoga, like of the breathing stuff. I've had friends in grad school that showed me, and I was like, that looks insane. Like they're able to like manipulate their like diaphragm and like their belly muscles and
there.
everything. It's pretty intense. Yeah.
It's really intense. Yeah, there's like the breath of fire where it's just like,
Mm.
yeah, it can be like painful, but once you like find your edge and get used to it, it's just you just move beyond your kind of normal patterns of thinking. And I felt free and more options. And just I literally felt like I went to space. And I talk a lot about like people, especially with addiction, there needs to be outlets like that because I would joke, I'm an addict. I like to feel different. And that's what Kundalini yoga gave me. And I felt
Mm.
different in a sustainable way, though.
Ooh, okay.
Do you think to overcome addiction, do you need to develop habits like yoga or other maybe productive ways of spending your energy?
That's a good question. Well, I think yes, and also to identify like what is the drug doing for you? Is it bringing you joy, relaxation, spiritual connection, social connection? Like what is the lesson it's trying to teach you? For me, I knew through drugs, I was trying to feel that connection to higher power, to God. At first, I had to work with that word because of just
Mhm.
Catholic school, but I
Right.
really wanted that spiritual connection, which I think is where I feel the most kind of trust because life is so unpredictable and there's just
Mhm.
it's a roller coaster, and just to kind
Yeah.
of be that eye in the storm is just something I was needing.
Wow. That's good. So if you were to give advice to someone who's struggling to addiction now, and they ask you, how do I overcome my addiction? Since
Mhm.
you've done it, and that's a huge success, to
Right.
be honest with you. What would you tell them? You know?
Yeah, is there are other ways to cope with the pain, and the pain is valid, and we can have the principle courage to change, because a
Mhm.
lot of times drugs and alcohol are the solution, and it's tough to grieve that and just know that it's a painful process, but it is so worth it on the other side to be in touch with freedom and not have obsessions about like when am I going to use how much. can I recover, and like the next day, and kind of be on that hamster wheel. Just there is another way to live, and beyond the limitations of what your mind is telling you now. So that's one of the main things I would say.
Gotcha. And then to jump back a little bit, you went from UCSB to Antioch University in Culver City. I
Yes.
think I've driven by that university. I just didn't know what kind of programs they had. That's super interesting. Now I know. But how's your experience there?
Yeah, I loved my experience there. It was so many papers. Oh my goodness. Just like
Right.
hundreds of hours literally dedicated to writing papers. I'm a slow writer, kind of a slow
Okay.
reader. So it just took me a little longer, but I learned so much. And what's so interesting about being a therapist and studying psychology is you need to, or something a professor said to me early on, you can only take your clients as far as you've gone. So the more that you do like your inner work and healing, which is, we do that till the day we die, I believe. But the more that you just do that, like what gets to you, how can you cope, then you'll be able to help your clients do that. And I learned so much there. And there's still so much to learn in the field of psychology. Like I've gone and trained in EMDR, which is a trauma focused modality. I'm getting trained in somatic experiencing right now, which is also a trauma modality. Nervous system work. It's just never ending. It feels like the training, but I do like that part because I love learning, and it's just, yeah, it's just continuous.
I was
Wow.
going to say, a lot of people that are obviously new in a career, I think me and Jim had a lot of conversations about it initially in physical therapy, and Jim as a lawyer, about imposter syndrome and trying to learn the lay of the land, I guess, in our career, like you said, because there is so much to know. I mean, knowing every single muscle in the body, physiology, all those kind of things, and then trying to build a rehab plan, or Jim, endless amounts of law you have to know. So how did
Yes.
you deal, or have you had to deal with imposter syndrome, and what was that? How you kind of navigated that throughout your career?
Oh, totally. Yeah. When I first started seeing clients, it's just like you're
Mm,
just there in the room with them. And it's just like, wow, wow, wee, wow, here we are. And it's a lot to move through. But what I've learned is that your energy, that enough is, that is good enough. And research shows that what's the most effective aspect in treatment is not the modalities you use, it's really the therapeutic relationship with the person and how much of a connection there is, because that really gives a new experience, and to feel safe in the room to talk about these things that are so vulnerable, and we go to dark, scary places. So to just have that therapeutic relationship is one of the most healing things.
That's
Do you
interesting
think
you say that, because I think I like learned a lot about that in physical therapy too. It was like stressing out about having the perfect treatment plan, and then realizing what you just said. Like, there's another phrase. It's like the patient won't care until they know how much you care about them, right?
Mm,
Kind of thing.
I
So like
like
you have to demonstrate that you are, empathic, and you care about what they're doing, rather than like they don't care how much you know. Really, they just want to have somebody there that can like kind of walk them through the process and tamper down their fears and anxieties and everything. So the exact treatment plan and physical therapy or whatever is not as important as what you just said. The therapeutic alliance, I think, and kind of walking it through with them, step by step. What were we gonna say, Jim?
Yeah, one of my mentors, when I first got into law, said that it's called the practice because you're never going to stop practicing.
Mm,
So that really helped me. I was really hard on myself for something. I forgot what it was, but like that's when she said that, it clicked for me. I'm like, oh, okay. So every new
yeah.
challenge that comes, I could get better, should get better. So I was when you said that, Jess, I thought that was what I thought about. Do you think that your advantage is that you've lived and experienced life, and you've also studied so concurrently? So maybe this all was an education for you, so that
Mm.
you're able to
Mm.
feel what someone's feeling on one end, and also coach them and teach them on the other end. I mean, do you think that's accurate?
Could you do your
Absolutely.
job as well if you hadn't had, addiction as well in the past? Do you think?
Yeah, those are good points. And although I haven't gone through my clients' exact experiences,
Mhm.
but the emotions are the same. And in
Mhm.
a lot of recovery work, it's one addict or alcoholic sharing their experience, strength, and hope with another one, and that's what
Mm.
helps people change. Because a lot of times people like know what to do. That's if they're getting told you need to get sober, that's not really the thing that will get them sober. It can be, but a lot of times it's hearing someone else's story. It's like, wow, that really resonated with me. And then they see it's possible for them and they have those similarities. And that is really healing to have that mirroring. And similar to what you were saying too, Jim, is I believe we can make our mess, our message, that sort of sublimation of things that we go
Damn.
through. And that has certainly been my goal because I've been through a lot. And if I can, kind of use it in this artistic way of being a therapy, I think it's an art too. And that just makes me feel like, oh, like that all happened for a reason, even if it's unpleasant.
Yeah.
Dude,
Wow.
that was a fire quote. I'm just gonna put that as a banner for like a second because that was legit. You're just dropping gems right now, and we just need to acknowledge that to the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's super fire. How long have you been a therapist? After, I mean, I guess like after once you complete those 3,000 hours, then you're officially a licensed therapist, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I've been a therapist for almost 5 years. I started seeing clients in grad school because you have to do your practicum and then you do your 3,000 hours, which some of them are face to face. You have to do groups, couples, families, kids, and just individuals. And then you
Mhm.
have your supervision and you run groups. And then once you do your 3,000 hours, which ends up being more than that, you can then submit an application to take the exam, which has like a 90-day turnaround. And then you're studying for the exam. And then I passed on the first try. I was so grateful. That test was like psychological training. You couldn't
Yeah.
drink
Right.
water.
Gee.
It was intense.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure the
They're
bar.
waterboarding you basically during the test.
Yeah, the
I,
bar is its own thing. T took a board exam.
wow.
Same
We're
thing.
familiar.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's the
Perfect.
final boss in
Yes,
the
Yeah.
educational like nightmare. And
exactly.
hopefully you hit them on the first try, like Jess did.
Yeah. Jim had to
Um,
take the bar twice. It's fine. California's a really hard bar, so we give him a pass. Jim's still like a 30 under 30 lawyer, so he's a great.
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, T. I appreciate that.
I got your
Really
back.
good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I feel like the bar is harder than the licensing exam to be a therapist too. Like that my brain just doesn't speak that language of law.
Yeah, the first time I took it, it had a 26% passage rate.
Wow.
Yeah. Second
That's
time I took it, I don't know what the passage rate was, but I killed it, so it's fit. It's
yeah.
over.
That's right.
And then
It's
do you have to
over.
get licensed in California specifically? So is the first test you take just like a national test, and then you have to take a state licensure, or how does that work with psychology?
Oh yeah,
Or,
so
or
you're
therapy?
just licensed in the state. So my
Okay.
license is only valid in the state of California.
Okay.
And part of what I'm working towards too is to pivot into coaching,
Mm,
which is just a different type of client. Therapy, you're meeting clinical necessity, and coaching, you're working with less severe problems. And what's nice about coaching is that you can see people all over the world. So I'm trying to
mhm.
build a coaching business as well to just expand and just implement just everything I've learned into that style as well.
Yeah.
How far
Jessica.
along in that process are you now? Are you like, just
Ooh,
thinking of general ideas, or you have a website, or like how far have you got along in that idea?
yeah,
Business.
I'm so the program I'm doing, it's called the Therapist to Coach Accelerator program, and it's for therapists, which is nice because it's like we have a lot of training already. And so part of my objective right now is I got my niche and I'm need to create more of a presence online, which part of me is like, oh no, like that feels scary, but I'm just
Yeah.
starting to get there. I'm batching content and hoarding it for the day when I do create more of a presence. So yeah, it's been a growth edge, and I have to do my marketing and sales, and which
Right.
is not my wheelhouse, but
Right.
I'm learning, always learning.
Always learning. That's what it's about. That's the thing. Like everyone has to have like an audience. Like it is kind of like annoying to me too, because I'm trying to similarly create an online fitness community and competition. And you kind of need an audience, like to do anything you want to do online these days. Like you have to learn how to sell, be a salesperson, market, be your own. Like you have to do the CEO thing. Like everyone's got to be a CEO now, and it's kind of like this is stressful, but I'm also learning a lot too, which is great. So I like that attitude. That's awesome.
Right on. Similar path then.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Jess, if I can give you the next 10 years and you can have it any way you want it, I'm a genie or something.
Mhm.
What would your next 10 years look like?
Next 10 years is okay. So I work at a treatment center now for addiction and mental health, and I'm here 4 days a week. And so I would like to have a balance, and I also have a private practice on the side. So I would like to have a balance of that, and also my coaching business. I would be shifting gears into a manifestation coach, which isn't just woo, kind of manifestation, but rooted in psychology, trauma, our subconscious, spiritual practices as well. So it's rooted in science as well. So I would have more spending more time with the coaching business, because that would give me more flexibility. I want to travel more. I want to kind of just have more time in nature. I'm in the office a lot. I got to walk in today, which is
I
always a good
understand.
thing.
Trust me. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and just staying in LA for sure, forever.
I agree
So
with
far.
that. I just nowhere else does it for me either.
Yeah,
You
nowhere
know,
else. Yeah,
maybe New York. New York is pretty cool.
I was just there. New York is great. Central Park is wild. It's this ginormous park in the middle of the biggest hubbub of a city you could ever imagine, right? So it's always pretty
They
interesting to
need that
me.
in LA, dude. If there was a Central Park in LA, that would just make it the best city ever of all time.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
something else. Do you have like a spiritual connection to any certain part of nature? I guess like Yosemite is your thing, Jessica, or like the beach, or like anything specific that you kind of relate to.
No, for sure. The beach is just
Yeah.
like the ocean, so powerful. And when I lived in Santa Barbara, there was one corridor where I lived on Del Playa, which is the street along the beach. And our unit was all the way in the back of the building. So it was closest to the beach. And my room was upstairs. It had 7 roommates. That apartment was so dirty and disgusting.
Mm, yeah.
But it was on the beach, and just hearing the waves crash, oh my gosh, I was like, "This cannot be the only time I live near the beach. I'm gonna
Right.
manifest."
Love
This is
that.
spoken like a true California girl. I appreciate it. I love the beach.
Mhm.
It's one of my favorite places to go. I truly think that there's something healing about putting your feet in the
Mhm.
sand and
Yeah.
walking on water. And I FaceTime Tyler while I do it
Mhm.
Nice.
sometimes to bring him back to California,
It helps.
sway him.
Yeah.
But it's really, I feel like it's amazing. So I'm glad you said that. Show some
Mhm.
love to the beach out here.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of science that shows why the beach is so healing and grounding for our nervous system. It releases negative
Mhm.
ions, and yeah, just and it helps put me in a state of awe, like, wow, the ocean is so vast. What is in there? And
Yeah.
it's beautiful. So it's just, yeah, so
There's
healing.
definitely something to that. I feel like that's why like Hawaiians and just like generally islanders are the most chill people ever, because you're next to this giant thing that could just murder you at any given like time, tsunami or like just drowning or something, giant waves. So I feel like growing up around that, you automatically become humbled. Like everyone's just been tossed, like a child by a wave before. So if that happens like 10 times in your life, you're going to respect nature a lot more. And I think that kind of humbles you in a good way. So, yeah,
That's
people
exactly
that grow up
what I was gonna
in
say.
island cultures or the beach, I think has something, significant there. So that's your future. Here's a
Mhm.
question that kind of brings you back to your past that I like to ask is if 2010 Jess and 2024 Jess walked into the same coffee shop,
Ooh.
You had to sit down and you had a 30-minute conversation, what would past and present Jess say to each other? What would that conversation entail?
Yes, I would say, sis, don't don't doubt yourself so much,
Right.
and don't waste your time with guys who are just, just it's not a match, don't put your
Right.
energy there. And I would say just like trust yourself more and believe that you're powerful, because I believe that we all are, like, through life and trauma and pain and conditioning. It can create so much disempowerment, and I like to
Mm,
work with, like, it's reconnecting. It was always there, but we just get kind of banged around in life and kind of lose connection to it. So it's just, I would just say reconnect with that power. And if your goals don't scare you, they're not big enough.
Dang.
ooh, dang.
I think 2010 Jess would be super pleased with what
Yeah,
Jess for sure.
that's for
With
sure.
that being said, I think it's a moment that we take Jess into the lightning round.
Ooh.
All right. Is it time for feeding the ducks then, Jim?
And time for the greatest song that was ever written.
The greatest song that's ever been written on a podcast platform
Yeah.
on Street Card is Feeding the Ducks, this gem right here. Nice. Okay, so again, 6 questions. Jessica, to wrap up, these are going to be a little bit quicker, kind of bring you back to a little bit of the Samo vibes here. And then we'll get the plugs, final closing, and then we'll be all set. Okay?
Right on.
First question is going to be, what was the best off-campus lunch spot near Santa Monica High School?
Ooh, best off-campus lunch spot. Oliver's place. It was right across the street. That was like our hangout spot. I guess that's not really a food place. Yeah.
Sure. I was going to say, who's Oliver? Yeah.
Yeah. Oliver. Yeah, he was in O House. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
O House. Wow. Man, I want to. What was? Oh, yes, that pizza place on 14th and Wilshire.
Ooh.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's still there. That was.
There's a couple. I'll look that up. I'll look that up for the show notes. But yes, there's some fire pizza.
I guess that was a bit far, actually, but that was the spot.
All I can think of, like, Earth, Wind, and Fire. That was a pizza place. I forget that. I think that was off Wilshire too, but it might be a little bit farther off.
Yeah.
Sure.
That is off Wilshire. You're right.
Okay, nice. I still got some of the memory, even though I'm in Washington. I still got some of the LA map in my brain, which is
There
cool.
you go.
Question 2: what was the hardest class you took or recall taking?
Pre-calc.
That was mine too. Yeah, pre-calc was way harder than calc, I thought. Okay. Do you remember the professor you had, or teacher, whatever?
I don't remember. And so I remember, I have this memory like it was yesterday.
Probably Mr. Lopez.
What was that?
Probably Mr. Lopez.
Oh yeah.
Were you asleep?
Oh yeah, no. I had pre-calc after Hard Haunted and Monster Massive, which were 5 days apart, and I took ecstasy for the first time. And I remember just thinking, like, wow, I fried my brain. I can't grasp what we're doing in this class. And so that's why I would just really encourage high schoolers, if you're under the age of 25, when your brain is still developing, the major structures, like, just not use.
That is interesting because I think
good
there's
advice.
a lot of.
I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty solid advice, Jess.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think 25, that's when everything should become legal. But yeah, until then, that's probably not a great idea.
Yeah, you want to just help your brain out.
Help your brain out, everybody. PSA.
Because you're gonna need it later in life, for sure.
You're gonna need it. Only neuroplasticity only goes so far. Absolutely. Question 3: which year of high school would you most like to relive if you could wake up and relive that entire year?
Probably junior year, because I was still at Samo and it was just a lot of fun. So go with it.
I love that.
So,
Question 4: would you rather have a late start Wednesday or an early release Friday?
Oh, late start for sure. Man, waking up early is just rough, especially then.
Definitely, even today. What time do you naturally wake up if you didn't set an alarm?
Like 8:30.
Okay.
that's solid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Nice. Okay, question 5. 2 more here, almost done. Who was the hottest teacher at Samo? Guy or girl? Doesn't matter.
Ooh, hottest teacher. I thought Miss Stevens was very pretty.
Miss Stevens.
What did she
Okay.
teach? Remember what subject she taught?
Oh, English.
English.
The
Yeah,
English teachers are the hottest. I don't know why. Like Jim likes. Wait, didn't you say Miss Fairchild, Jim? And I
Yeah,
think she
it's
was
a Miss
the English teacher.
Fairchild.
Oh, I don't know who that was. Yeah, I don't remember finding anyone particularly attractive. Remember my 4th grade
Yeah.
teacher?
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. But I feel like English is like punching above its weight class and like attractiveness for professors and teachers. I don't know why, but it's something about it.
Yeah, shout out to Miss Stevens because she asked me to be her TA, and because I think she sensed I was struggling, and she kept me busy.
That's
dang. Okay, yeah, she was reaching out to the youth. I like it. Question 6, final one. What song from our high school era is still on your playlist today?
Oh, Fly Like a G6.
Oh, actually,
Nice.
that's yeah, I still listen to that too.
Good ass choice. That's legit. Yeah, Fly Like a G6.
Yeah, that's still a bop.
That is awesome. Nice. Well, hit it with the final floor there, Jim, and the final closeout.
All right, this is the final section of the podcast. You've made it through the hot seat, the lightning round, the Wayback Machine. You told your story. Now it's time to let people off with a final word, a message, a plug, if you will, a website, whatever you got. And the floor, once again, is yours.
Yeah, thank you both so much. I first want to say, like, you guys are rad. This was a lot of fun. Like, the time flew by. Yeah, I just want to just say out to everybody, if that you're having a tough time, like things are always changing, and where can we just do our own grounding? And because our nervous system, that's what's running the show a lot. We all speak the universal language of physiology. So slowing down to speed up, and that means being with ourselves, self-care, so we can be more efficient and just, have a little having grace for ourselves in this human condition, especially, in LA, it can be challenging at times. And so that's a thought that I would like to leave with. And I have a profile on Psychology Today, Jessica Roux, and I'm working on a website and building out my Instagram more. So yeah, it's just always a process.
All right. And for all the lurkers out there, I put her at from her Instagram in the corner. So you can find her.
There's 3 S's in Jessica because Jessica Roux was taken. So
dang. Okay.
I'm glad. I'm glad you edited that.
Yes, we will edit that and we'll get that back up on the show notes.
I was blind on that one.
That's all good.
But thank you very much, Jess, for coming on. That's how you do it. 3 S's.
Nice.
Just like that. That's the episode. Go message Jessica, book a session with her, and check her out.
Go become a therapist. Shout out.
And become a therapist if you want.
Yeah,
if you want, if that's your thing. If you don't, if you don't want to, that's fine. But if you want to, listen to this episode because Jess was dropping gems the whole time.
Right. Don't become a lawyer though.
No.
Whatever you do.
That's a great way to end the pod. I love that.
All right.